Quite a set of readings this morning. As a parent, I cannot skip over the near sacrifice of Isaac in Genesis. Reading this story several thousand years later, on the other side of the world, from a fully industrialized and city-centered life, this story is horrifying. Biblical interpreters have told us that we should have the faith of Abraham to be willing to give up all that is most precious to us. Or that we should submit like Isaac, who must have had some inkling of what was happening as his father trussed him up and laid him atop a bonfire. Or that God will intervene and save the day if we just have enough faith. These interpretations can lead to theologies that make permissible physical and emotional abuse of children, women, domestic partners, and ourselves. Theologies that crush spirits and lives. The explanation that makes the most sense to me about why we read this story is that it's because it is memorable. Most of us can recall this story without much prompting. It reminds us that unlike other religions in Abraham's day, we do not sacrifice the lives of children or anyone to please God. God desires life for us, not death. God's fullest expression of love is for us to love one another. Love one another so that all people in creation are living fully, growing, learning, in nurturing relationships. The reading from Romans emphasizes that we human beings possess the power of choice. We can choose to live by our human instincts, which are naturally self-interested and competitive, or we can focus our lives on God, striving to worship God with our lives by trying to respect the dignity of every human being and preserve creation for future generations. Part of discipleship is acknowledging that we are all doing our imperfect best at living holy lives, and we all fail. In our moments of feeling like a failure, a disappointment, unworthy, unlovable, our most broken and vulnerable moments, we are never alone. God never forgets or abandons us. And God's grace ensures that we can always return to God by asking for forgiveness. Choosing to follow God to the best of our abilities at any given time is choosing life over death, even if we can't immediately see the growth that will result. At Trinity, we love and welcome all people because we believe that every person is uniquely and beautifully created in the image of God. The holy in each of us recognizes and delights in the holy in every other living being. And so we rejoice when we come together for worship, for conversation and learning, and for service to our community and one another. The word welcome appears 6 times in our little teeny 3-verse gospel reading today. This reading is the final installment from Jesus' instructions when he sends the 12 disciples out for the very first time on their first mission trip to heal all people, exorcise demons, raise the dead, and generally proclaim that God's kingdom of life and health and full inclusion has come near. We've read the first 2 parts of it for the last 2 weeks, and this is the final message. Jesus reminds his disciples to recognize and receive welcome wherever it's offered, even something so small as a cup of cool water. Welcome. The word nerd in me. Originally, will, meaning desire or pleasure, and kuman, meaning come. When we say it aloud, we address it to another person. Welcome, as a greeting when someone arrives someplace. Or you are welcome, in response to being thanked. Literally, it means, I desire that you are here. Or, my desire agrees with you coming here. Trinity welcomes people of every race and nation, LGBTQ+ and straight folks, people of all ages, those who have lots of religious experience and those who have none, people who live in houses and those who don't, and people from every socioeconomic location. Oh, and people with lots of questions. When we say that we welcome all people, we proclaim that our hearts desire a community that reflects the incarnation of many different reflections of God's image. And desiring the diversity of God's people to come as our neighbor or our faith community challenges us. Every new person who joins our community for a single service or a few weeks or much longer changes who we are as God's people in the very best way, because every person brings their own set of life experiences and passions and expertise. And we are always learning, again and still, how to welcome all of God's people. Whoever you are, wherever you are, my heart, our Trinity heart, desires that you find a place of joy and peace, comfort and strength, learning and service here at Trinity. We welcome your imperfect and beautiful self. Welcome begins by a simple act of hospitality, sharing our names, introductions, and offering a cup of cool water or coffee. In doing so, we meet the holy in one another, and we welcome God into our midst. Our journey toward God brings us again and again back to water, living water, at the well, at the font, to be refreshed, reminded, and renewed in our faith and curiosity for God. Welcome.